right at this exact second, while your body is sitting at a desk or maybe walking down the street, your mind, it's probably somewhere else entirely. You know exactly what I mean. You're replaying some awkward conversation from 3 days ago, or you're already rehearsing your response to an email you haven't even written yet. Well, today in this explainer, we are breaking down a highly dynamic, 8-step tactical blueprint. We're going to learn how to systematically catch these mental hijacks as they happen and forcefully return your mind back to the present moment.
Now, it's crucial to understand that this constant mental wandering is not a character flaw. It's really not. It's just a deeply ingrained, automatic, subconscious habit. Your subconscious literally pulls your awareness away from the present and drops it into these constructed, imaginary states as naturally and invisibly as you breathe. It's an automatic escape mechanism, and it's been reinforced by years of unchecked repetition. But because it is just a habit, that means we can reprogram it by actively intercepting it.
So, let's dive right into Phase 1, the intelligence layer.
Before we can actually stop a mental hijack, we have to gather some intel on our subconscious defaults. We really need to understand the stark difference between deliberate thinking and what we call an involuntary simulation. Deliberate thinking is strategic, right? You consciously choose to examine a past error so you can learn from it. But in involuntary simulation, its entry is completely invisible. You don't choose it at all. Boom, suddenly you're washing the dishes and you realize you've just spent the last 5 minutes mentally screaming at a colleague over a meeting from Tuesday. That is a hijack.
Which brings us to step 1, catch the simulation. You have to intercept this hijack by tuning into your body's built-in warning system. You're looking for a sudden, totally unexplained emotional charge or a physical spike. Like, say you're on a super mundane train commute, and out of nowhere, you feel your jaw clenching or your heart starting to race. That physical tension, that's your trigger. It's the alarm bell telling you to snap back and catch that simulation right in that exact fraction of a second.
Okay, so once you catch it, you pivot immediately to step 2, which is applying one of 5 specific labels. Fluidly naming the state literally strips it of its power. So ask yourself, are you rewinding a past mistake? Rehearsing some future catastrophe? Are you shadowboxing in an imaginary argument? Maybe escaping into a daydream of a totally different life? Or are you narrating, playing the internal critic, judging your every move? You have to pinpoint that vague daydream and lock it into a precise target.
Let's actually zero in on rehearsing as a prime example, because honestly, we've all been there. Imagine you're sitting in completely still, dead-stop traffic, but your heart is pounding out of your chest because you're mentally rehearsing a scenario where your boss fires you. Your nervous system is generating genuine, physical panic for a financial crisis that simply has not happened. Your body doesn't know it's a simulation, you see. It reacts as if it's 100% real.
So step 3 is where all this intelligence gathering really pays off. Identify your dominant pattern. By tracking these labels across a week, you're going to see exactly what your subconscious defaults to. Do you mostly shadowbox? Do you mostly escape? Finding that most frequent label actually exposes the unresolved situations, or those high emotional charges that are secretly running in the background of your life and just draining your mental processing power.
All right, let's keep the momentum going with Phase 2, the return layer.
Once we have our intel, we have to aggressively drag the mind back to reality. Step 4 kicks this off by having you pose this really stark, penetrating question to yourself. Is what I am thinking about happening right now in this physical location? Asking this instantly intercepts the mental hijack. It literally forces your brain to cross-reference its internal fake movie with external physical reality.
And then you answer that question by explicitly naming the here and now. You state a simple fact like, it is Tuesday morning and I am working at my desk. Verifiable, present tense facts outcompete the simulation's fake data every single time. The simulation simply cannot argue with a physical fact. You're forcing your brain to dump that constructed reality and reload the actual physical coordinates of exactly where you are.
Step 5 is to accept the current reality. Look, your subconscious left the present because it felt the simulation was somehow more urgent. So you have to give it a genuine reason to stay grounded. Find one real, present-day, positive fact that directly counters the specific simulation you just caught. If you caught yourself rehearsing losing your job, your merit is simply, my job exists today. Or if you were agonizing about massive future car repair bills, your merit is, my car works right now. It's that simple, but absolutely crucial.
Now we transition into Phase 3, the proactive layer.
Just doing a cognitive return isn't enough, right? We have to physically lock the mental window shut so we don't slip right back out. Step 6 rapidly grounds us.
activate sensory awareness. You deliberately register raw data through 2 or maybe 3 sensory channels. So don't just generally listen. Deliberately tune in to the exact pitch of a train engine passing by. Feel the specific temperature of the desk under your hand. By flooding your brain with real detailed sensory data, you literally starve the simulation of the processing capacity it needs to rebuild itself.
And right here is where we firmly bolt the door. Step 7. Execute a single physical task. Listen, an unoccupied mind is a highly dangerous thing. Without a task, it's going to immediately relapse into escapism. You must give your conscious mind a highly focused, immediate physical operation to perform. Do this, and the subconscious has absolutely zero room to hijack you again.
To put that into perspective, let's look at some kinetic micro-scenarios in action. If you catch yourself daydreaming, instantly switch to hand-drying a single glass with total undivided attention for just 60 seconds. Watch every single water drop disappear. Or, if you were shadowboxing with an imaginary enemy, shift gears to precisely water a single plant, focusing on the exact circular motion of the water pouring out. Applying this total physical attention completely displaces and overwrites the mental simulation.
Finally, we arrive at Phase 4, the formal session. This is where we stop playing defense and we go on the offensive. Now notice the sharp contrast here between formal mindfulness and traditional meditation. In traditional meditation, you're mostly passively observing thoughts, just letting them float by like clouds to achieve calm. But in formal mindfulness, you are actively hunting thoughts. You actually want the simulations to surface so you can aggressively intercept them and practice your return sequence in a controlled environment.
Step 8 is the rapid-fire execution of this formal session. You settle into stillness specifically to use it as bait, to intentionally lure out those automatic subconscious programs. And this is where our entire blueprint comes together in real time. First, you catch the simulation. Second, you label it. Third, you identify your dominant pattern. Fourth, you ask if it's happening right now. Fifth, you state a present moment merit. Sixth, you activate your senses. Seventh, you execute a physical task. You practice this entire sequence to forcefully redirect a mind on command.
So I'll leave you with this final provocative challenge. What is the true cost of an unoccupied mind? Seriously, think about it. Every single unchecked simulation is a moment of your actual life surrendered to a reality that doesn't even exist. It's time to stop surviving in the illusions of the past and the future and forcefully reclaim the power of your present moment.